Alrighty, good morning everybody. It's Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024. Hey Neil, thanks for being here. We're going to go ahead and take a look here at what happened yesterday. Now, if you recall from the pre-market broadcast, what we were talking about was seeing all these bearish clues up from the all-time highs, right? They pushed to a new all-time high back on May 16th, and then I believe on, Monday of this week, they pushed and retested the all-time high. And coming into yesterday, it did look like it was a potential double top for a pullback, but I also did mention that the bulls have been pretty relentless. So even though we expect there to be a pullback, you never know what level down below the bulls were going to go ahead and hold and support and defend and go ahead and push higher. And sure enough, we got the pullback coming into the open, right? So if we look back to the high from the day before yesterday, the market was pulling back and we were coming into the open, and this is kind of what we saw. And it looked like, hey, it made sense for the market to continue to push given all of the stuff that we were seeing up here. However, I said, don't be surprised if the bulls go ahead and jump in and find some support off one of the roadmap levels that we have below, maybe even the previous daily low. And sure enough, the market opened here and they held the previous daily low and went ahead and started ripping higher. So if you were still a bear coming into the open, given that the market was selling off, we had good clues we had some signals that typically lead to a decent push. And so if you wanted to get short, you did have that opportunity off VWAP right out of the open where it came right up in and failed. The unfortunate part is it didn't quite get anywhere. And then maybe, and I'm not saying that this is what everybody did, but then maybe if you noticed that VWAP wasn't quite holding the market down and price got back up through it, you then got that tag of the 200 and the VWAP, and basically a test of the opening resistance, and then you could have captured a beautiful bullish push for most of the rest of the day. So that was really like, the bearish play didn't quite work out. You could have even tried a pretty aggressive short right off the 200 there, just didn't go anywhere, and then finally breaks out through VWAP, pulls back to hold it, and then we start getting the bullish push, which, like I said, I warned you, it looks like it makes sense that a pullback could happen, but the bulls have been relentless in defending our levels, and then we get these shallow pullbacks, and then they just jump right back in, right? So that was a great opportunity to get long if you started to recognize that all the resistance at VWAP was dying. And then the market just went ahead and got a nice rip up through 50% of the day before there, and then petered out for what looked to me to probably be a peak above and fail scenario from there. But what happened? The bulls defended VWAP, right? And at one point they tried to get down below, and then it got pushed right back up, right? So if you didn't get long off that, if you missed out on the short because it didn't go anywhere, there definitely were some opportunities to buy VWAP as we were breaking out. And there were some opportunities to get short as the market was trying to kind of break through VWAP there. So there were a couple little options there. And then from there, we got the continued push to the end of the day here, where once again, we get the beautiful pullback to hold the 200, pretty much shyly just missing it here a couple times, and then right at the end of the day kind of gets that last little pop for 2 or 3 points. So it was a little bit messy in here in some areas. Once it kind of went sideways in here, it might have been a little bit tricky, but this was kind of that first little clue this morning that the bears maybe were done with here when they popped it back through. VWAP held and then went ahead and got through that overnight or that morning high. So that kind of concludes the review from yesterday. Maybe not the easiest market, but once we started to get on some of these rips, you had some good opportunities. And if you nailed that entry in the morning, then you captured this whole push. So let's go ahead and look at what happened here in the overnight session coming into this morning. And we just tested into the high of the day before. The all-time high was at 53.49. Okay, so in the overnight session last night, they came right to the all-time high, the high of, what was it, Thursday or Friday of last week or something. Came right to it, kissed it right there, went through it by a tick, and now we're getting a pullback once again. So if you kind of zoom out and look at what happened for the last couple days, it's been a push up, pull back, push up, pull back, push up. Now we're pulling back once again. Okay, so that's kind of where we're sitting right now as we come into the open. Let's go ahead and jump up to those higher time frames and see what they have to say for this morning. By the way, when the market fell from the all-time high last night, you got your crossover, you got the kiss of the back end of the 200 here, and then you even just got this shy miss. And these were some decent opportunities in the overnight session there. So kind of interesting also that they found support right off 50% of the previous day for a nice little 5-6 point bounce. So let's go ahead and jump on up